This is a video I have tried to shoot about a half a dozen times, and well, it's not an easy one, but it is the truth. You read that thumbnail right. I am no longer in the classroom, and I want to talk about why. Look, this channel, we named it Real Rap with Reynolds because real rap is what my students would refer to as like having real talk with me about any number of given subjects. And so when we created the YouTube channel, we wanted this idea of real talk around education, around what it's like to be in education, to be an educator inside and outside of the classroom, and what it might be like to become the teacher that you are called to be. And so with that in mind, I want to just be really transparent without being gossipy and explain what happened, what's next, and well, that about sums it up. Teaching has been my calling for almost 20 years. I have a whole other video on why I became a teacher, and I can link that in the description box below if you're interested. But it is really been something I have been called to do. And so I started out in Camden, New Jersey. I then, about 12 years ago, went to West Philadelphia, and I've been at that school, and that's what everything you've seen on my YouTube channel has drawn from that experience. In 2019-2020 school year, just before the pandemic, a number of things started happening in our school, and that culminated in the top level leadership being let go, and then subsequently a number of other leadership positions, like folks in leadership positions being fired as well. And then a number of other folks kind of seeing that pattern jumping ship. And so in that first half year that we were doing virtual, in that first part of 2020, about 60% of our staff was either fired or quit. And so going back into the next year, we had all new administration. And so the short of this is, it was my entire support staff that I was, almost the entire support staff, I want to say everyone, that I was around from day to day, that supported me, that helped me support students, that I helped them do things as well, that completely disappeared. That was a really hard thing to show back up to, because as we say all the time, teaching is a communal activity, which is one thing, right? But trying to rebuild that, trying to figure new things out, trying to figure out a solution to this new problem was what was on my mind. And so we went back to school, and I will say that in the last 3 years, I think we had 5 principals. And so that's a lot of new leadership. It's a lot of new ideas. It's a lot of new implementation. And that led to, in short, last year, by March, I think it was, there were, I would think it was somewhere in like the 50, like at least 50% of our staff had left just last year. That's 2021-2022 school year. And then by the end of the year, 95% of the staff quit. So the idea of returning back to a school with that much turnover was one thing in and of itself. But the school that you've seen on YouTube for all of these years is in large part non-existent anymore. The building's still there. Students still go to that school, but the heart of what that school was no longer exists. And what I mean by that is there were a number of decisions that were made that, to me, right, this is a me, this isn't, different people have different ways of measuring things. There were a number of decisions that were made that were unethical, that took us from this vision of what the school was created for and took us far away from that vision. And there were things that I just could not get behind any longer. Like, and enough things that were important enough to me that I just couldn't, I couldn't be behind any longer. Not until June of last year did I let the school know that I would not be returning for the following school year. So I packed up all of my stuff. I took down the room that you've seen for years on YouTube, and I left. So to me, the big piece isn't that I left the classroom. The bigger piece is what is next. And so 6 years ago, we started this YouTube channel, right? Which was just something that my son wanted me to do at first, and then transitioned into something that was really just sort of try and bless people, right? It has been something that it's creating content, creating things that I wish existed when I started teaching. That grew over the last 6 years. It became a book, it became speaking engagements, it became running workshops virtually and in person, and keynotes, and all of this really incredible stuff. And what I think was happening in that time is that I was being built for what is next. I have always been someone that has tried my hardest to follow Jesus with reckless abandon. And so from the person that I married, to the kids that I had, to the neighborhood that I've lived in, to the schools that I've taught in, it has been pushed by me just trying to follow Jesus into the next thing, into what I was being called to do. And so it is in talking to a lot of mentors and talking to my spiritual director over the last couple of years, it has really become more and more evident that for my experience at my school has created this sort of holy discontent, that I believe that became difficult because I was being pushed and called into something else that I would never have normally gone to. I started teaching because I wanted to teach for the rest of my life. I wanted kids to be able to come back to room 106 and know that Reynolds would be there all the time, that the students that came back from college, came back from other high schools that they had transferred to, and they would know where I was if they ever needed anything, and just to come back and visit, which, to be honest, is one of the things that our school changed last year. Students that were formerly a part of our school, or I think currently a part of our school family, but had gone on to other things, to college and beyond, were not allowed to come and see us anymore. They weren't allowed to come and be a part of what we were doing. This is not an easy video for me to make. The point that I'm trying to get to is that it was somewhere that I was never going to leave. And so I needed that fire to kind of push me out, to go towards something so I could have this new growth into what I'm supposed to be next. In a time in our world where educators are leaving in mass, where we are just putting people in classrooms to babysit children, where teachers are being so overwhelmed, so overburdened with all of those responsibilities of being an educator, that folks are coming in September and leaving by October. I feel like my new mission, where I'm growing into next, the thing that I'm being led to do, is to help those teachers to become the teachers they're called to be, to take control of the situation, to do the best that they can with what they've got, to be able to grow into that person that they dreamed of being when they became a teacher, and not just fizzling out and giving up that mission that you may have had. And that is incredibly exciting to me. So, we say here at Real Rap with Reynolds that teaching is only ever about the students. And that is true. But they need good teachers to be able to teach the students. And so in this new role, in this new era, in this new season of what we are doing here, it is about that full time, not working a 10-hour day as a teacher and then working till 1 o'clock in the morning, doing this YouTube thing and creating all the other things that we do. It is this full time to pour into teachers in this moment that teachers need it more than maybe ever. And so that's going to look like a lot of things coming up, a lot more of what we're doing, but like on 11. It is taking all the time, energy, and attention that I brought to the classroom and bringing it to you. It is helping teachers to be who they are called to be, who they want to be, and who they need to be for kids. That's it. Let's go. Peace.